and welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, from wherever part of the world you are joining me from this afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you here. It's always a pleasure to share these 30 minutes, 45 minutes to 1 hour sometimes with you. Thank you for always joining me. And please, as you connect, as you join, do let me know where you're joining me from. And if you're someone that has been following us from the beginning, share something. Share something that you have gotten from these sessions that we have done. And can you believe it is our 19th session? It will get to a point I will not be able to do the recaps that I do of all the sessions. It would take the whole time, but I'm so grateful to God for this privilege, for this opportunity to come and share with each and every one of us every Tuesday right here on Facebook. So this is Growth Habits with Ngozi, and I'm your personal guide in the journey of growth. I lead you and I join you in the journey. I don't just show you the way, I walk that way with you. Your personal guide in the journey of growth, and I go on the journey with you. I believe that no one should ever be left behind on the journey of growth. No one should also go on the journey alone. We need to walk with each other. We need to help each other as much as we can. All right, so welcome once again. Welcome once again for those that will join on the replay, because some people, this time is not so convenient for them, and I understand and I completely appreciate that you come on the replay when you have the chance, and you still watch and you still comment and you still let me know the things that you're benefiting and the things that you're gaining from this, our journey of growth. Okay, so as is our normal practice, I will do a recap as quickly as possible of all the things we have done so far. So I will start from the first session where we just talked about growth in general, and we agree that growth is a process. It does not end, truly. Once you stop growing, you're no longer alive. Even as a human being, the growth of the human body, when the human body stops growing, none of the cells are growing, is death. So growth is a process. It doesn't end, but you improve on it each time. You get better and better at it. In our second session, we talked about having a growth mindset, because it's not just to grow, but we do have to have the mindset that enables growth. Welcome, Latis. I'm so glad to have you here this afternoon. So, it's a process, and that process requires a certain kind of mindset. If you have a fixed mindset that just believes that this is it, this is how I am, this is how God created me, I can't change much about it, you will never grow. You will remain stunted all your life. You will not experience growth. So that was our second session. Welcome, Mike Gopene. I'm glad to have you here this afternoon. I trust you're having a good day so far. All right, so our third session, we talked about our habits and the need to optimize our habits. The need to, first of all, understand who we are. When we understand who we are, then we can understand the habits that will work for us. Because there's so many habits out there, and they all lead to growth. There's so many, but it's not all that will work for you. So you need to understand yourself so that you know the ones that will work for you. In our fourth session, we talked about your circle of friends, and we said that you need to be careful about that circle. You can't just have any person, but there are two people you must have in that your circle. One is someone that is going on the same journey that you are. The second is someone that has been on this journey you're going. Someone whose present represents the future you're trying to get to. These two people are essential to have in your circle of friends if you intend to grow. Our 5th session, we talked about measuring growth, and we found out that you can't measure what you do not keep data of. You can't measure it. You can't tell how well it's going if you don't have information on it, if you don't know where you are or where you were, and you don't know how far you have gone, and you don't know exactly where you're heading to. So you need to have information, you need to have data in order to measure growth. In our 6th session, we talked about balancing inputs and outputs. Yeah, and in that session, we agreed that the best way, to get input is to rest. Because output might not be our problem. We are able to give out. We are able to do. What are we taking in? Are we resting? Are we having physical rest? Are we having rest spiritually? Are we having emotional rest? Without these, our growth will not be as fast as it should be. Our 7th session, we talked about coming out of your comfort zone. Nothing. I'm sure you have heard this so many times, both from me and from others. Nothing grows in the comfort zone. You put a seed in the ground, there is some agitation. There is some movement before that seed is able to grow. You don't put a seed in the ground and it just stays. If it stays, it dies there. If there's no movement, if there's no activity, that seed dies in the ground. It doesn't ever grow. It doesn't ever come out to become the tree it should be. In our 8th session, we talked about identifying our blind spots. We are human beings. We have weaknesses, we have failings, we have areas that we think we are doing well, but when we really take a good look at it, we find that maybe we're not doing as well as we should. We need to identify those areas, and it helps to have someone who is objective, that can show us those our weak points and point us in the direction to correcting them. In the 9th session, we talked about learning from people who inspire us. We all have people that inspire us. We have the mentors, celebrities, whatever it is, people in the Bible, whatever. It could be anyone, but most times we don't learn from these people. We just follow them. We just watch what they do per se, and we are not truly learning. We're not truly imbibing anything from them. We must learn to learn from those people that inspire us, and not just to follow them, and not just to idolize them, for us to grow properly. In our 10th session, we talked about dealing with difficult people, and we agreed that you must deal with difficult people with love. There has to be love in your heart for that person, so that you can actually put yourself in their shoes. Most difficult people, a whole lot of them, they're just looking for a certain, maybe attention or something. A lot of them is not that they want to really be difficult, if you check. So follow them with love, follow them with empathy, and learn how to deal with them. 11th session, we talked about letting go of the past. This session was a very emotional session for most of us that were there here for that session, because we all have things that we are holding on to. We all have things from our past that we have refused to let go. Whether it's someone that hurt us and we have refused to forgive them, or something, or something that happened in our past, and because we claim we are learning lessons from that thing, we refuse to let it go. It's still holding us back. It's still weighing us down. We must let go of all that excess luggage for us to move swiftly on the journey of growth. Our 12th session was a question and answer, where people came up with some questions and we attempted to answer them. Our 13th and 14th session, we talked about visualizing success, and we talked about the beauty of seeing that thing that you want, that success that you want, being able to see it, being able to see yourself in that future that you want, being able to see yourself in that future. And one of the things we talked about that helps us see ourselves in that future is a vision board. And we talked about using that vision board to cause us to every day have that future before our eyes. Okay, in our 15th session, we now talked a bit about growth in our businesses. And we talked about knowing your why you are in business. Why are you doing the business that you're doing? Is there a purpose behind it, or is it just we want to make money because others are making money? And we agree that your business has to have, it has to be solution based. It has to offer a solution for it to last. If it offers no solution, most times it will be a short lifespan for that business. Then the next business we talked about, learn every detail of your business, and we had a guest that came and she spoke to us about understanding your business all round, knowing all there is to know, building yourself up, learning about the business, learning about every aspect of it, so that even if right now your business is small, the business you're doing has not grown, by the time you prepare yourself, you equip yourself, when that business explodes, you are ready. Okay, so that was our 16th session. The 17th session, we talked about dedicating yourself to customer service. Dedicate yourself to customer service. We also had a guest that came and spoke to us, and she told us that, look, you have to leave your customers with an experience when they deal with you. It's not enough to sell things to them. You have to leave them with an experience. A good, positive experience, not a negative one, a positive experience. In our 18th session, we talked about developing a clear sense of direction. By this time, we have shifted from your business to career for those that work. Having and developing a clear sense of direction. Knowing where you are going. Why are you walking where you are walking? Where do you intend to go in that career path? Do you even know whether the work you're doing has a path? Do you even know? Do you even know whether or is it just that it's just, whatever it is you're doing now, that's the end of it? Is there a career path for this job, for this work you're doing? Do you know it? Have you sat down and planned how you will go from point A to point B? So develop a clear sense of direction in that work that you are doing. Okay, so that is a recap. A quick, you see now these days our recap is taking like 10, almost 15 minutes. That is true growth. Yes. And it's due to all of you. All right, so our 19th session today, we are still talking about growth in your career, and we are talking about doing what you love. Now you may want to say, I'm already working, and I do not love what I'm doing already. I'm already working, and this job I'm doing, I'm not loving it. But it's still possible to do something you love, even in the midst of that job that you're not comfortable with, that job that you're not enjoying as you should. Is very possible. And being able to do something you love in the midst of that job helps you do the work better and helps you advance even more in that present job that you are doing. So we are looking at it from two angles. One, you have not started work. So if you're in that, if that is your situation, ensure that the job you're getting into is something that you love. The second angle, you're already working and you're not too much enjoying this job. It's not really, it's not really it for you. You can still, in the midst of that place, in the midst of that job, begin to do something that you love, and that will help propel you to do better in the current job. Okay, so those are the two areas we want to follow in looking at our topic for today. So the first thing I want to say generally is that for you to even talk about doing something that you love, you have to understand you. We said this before. You have to understand you. You You have to know who you are through and through. You have to understand truly what makes you tick. You have to understand truly what makes you who you are. Because you can't really know what you love. Sometimes we think we love something. We actually think, oh, this is what we love, until we begin to do it. And we find out that it's not really, I don't know if it has happened to any of you, but it has happened to me. And, I thought this was what I enjoyed. I thought this was what gave me joy. But along the line, I realized that it was not. So you have to really get to know yourself. Do a real self-assessment. Susan Anumele, welcome. Glad to have you here this afternoon. Yes, you have to do a real self-assessment. A real self-assessment. You really have to understand what it is that makes you tick. What is that thing that you can do without too much stress? You can do it. They wake you up in the middle of the night. You can do it. You're not being paid for it. You can do it. What is that activity that you can volunteer your time, your effort, your everything for, even if nobody is paying you for it, and you will still be happy, and you will still do it gladly? What is that thing? You need to figure out what that is first of all. Now, if you're not already working and you're in the process of getting a job, once you have figured out what is this thing that you love, that gives you joy, no matter what, it can take up all your time and you will still do it gladly. If you figure out this thing, then try and get a job that involves that activity. Let your process of looking for work include looking for jobs that includes that activity that truly brings you joy. Ebele Ediokafo, welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you, I appreciate. Okay, so you do need to figure out what that thing is. So like I said, you are just starting. Excellent, perfect. It's the best time. Figure out truly what gives you joy and look for jobs or look for work that includes that activity. Let's assume you've studied something else now. You've gone to school and you've studied something completely different from what gives you joy. And then you need to work. And most probably you're going to work with your certificate. And you look for jobs that are in line with what you have studied. Okay? Then, what do you now do? How do you begin to talk about doing what you love when already you're doing what you went to school for, which might not be what you love? So how do you now do it? What do you do? For me, I always like to give personal examples. When I was in my early years of working, I've always worked in accounts because I studied accounting. That is what I studied. So I've always worked in accounts. But I found that, I think I've shared this with us before, I found out that I enjoyed administrative things. I enjoyed the crafting of letters. I enjoyed the dealing with, people's issues. What problem is this contractor having, this client? I enjoyed dealing with those things. I enjoyed having that face-to-face interaction, even if it's not face-to-face, but that interaction with customers, with clients. I enjoyed doing such things. And even while I was working as an accountant, I found a way to do those things by befriending secretaries to MDs, company secretaries, not the lawyers type. I found a way. I always befriend. Anywhere I walked, you would see me friendly with the secretary. Why? Because I liked what she was doing. The things that are part of her job are the things that I enjoyed. And I would go and, ask in the process of, discussion, oh, can I help you do this? Now, what that did was, because I enjoyed doing those things, it's put me in a good mood most times. Even now, when I had to do the accounting work, as at this time, I did not realize I didn't like accounting. No, let me make it clear. I didn't even realize it. It was not a conscious, oh, I'm not really into accounting, or oh, I don't even really like accounting. I thought I liked accounting because I was doing it well. But I found that this other area, I also had an affinity for it. So I would go and meet the secretary. Hey, how are you doing? Oh, what? You're writing some letters. Can I help you? Can I craft one? But you will look at it, you will help me when I finish crafting this letter. You will go over it and ensure that the letter is okay. And the joy I got from doing that job carried me through doing the boring parts of my accounting work. So that is why, this is one clear reason why it is important to do what you love. See now, what was giving me promotion in the office was the accounting work. It's not the admin work I was doing on the side. The admin job was for the secretary. But because I was doing that extra admin work that was giving me joy, the joy spilled over to my accounting work. And I was getting the necessary promotions. And I was getting my accounting job done. It's not as if I hate accounting. Get me right. I studied it. So it's not as if I hate it. But it wasn't really my flair. So I've always known this, but I never really understood fully. Is that the word? I think so. Never really understood it fully till now. You can imagine how many years did it take me to come to this realization. But nonetheless, as I think about these things now, I realize that being able to do those, write this email, write this letter, talk to this contractor that's giving us problem, it gave me joy. And I did those ones gladly. It doesn't even matter whether the credit went to somebody else. I didn't care. I was not even bothered. I was not bothered that the credit did not come to me. But the joy that one gave me carried over into the main job I was doing. So that is why it is important to do what you love doing in the place of work. It helps you in moving, in growing in that career path. Now you begin, it looks like, but you're sharing your time. You're now taking time that you should be using to do your accounting work, and you're using it to do admin. But for me, it wasn't like that. Because I loved doing the admin work. It was never an extra work to me. It was never. It's as I'm thinking about these things, I'm preparing to share these things with us, I realize some of it. Then I didn't think of it this way. When it was happening, it was just happening. I didn't really see it like this. But as I prepare to share with us, as I prepare the things I'm going to talk about, I realized that my life has mirrored a lot of these things that I'm talking about. So yes, the joy that I derived from doing that extra work, notice it's extra, because I still had to meet all my targets as an accountant. My accounts had to be ready whenever the deadlines or the due dates, it had to be ready. I couldn't give any excuse. I couldn't say because I was helping the secretary type a letter, that's why my accounts were not ready. No. But my accounts were ready. I never faltered in that. But I also derived so much joy from those other extra things I was doing that by the time it was time to do my account, I'm still on cloud 9. I'm still rejoicing. My heart is still full from the other job I did. So yes, it is so essential to do what you love doing. Find a way to put it into the work that you do. Just find a way. And I also found out that as I now progressed in my career, I began to lean more towards management than accounting. And by the time I began to make that switch, I didn't have to go and learn. I've been doing it. I've been doing these things all this while. Indirectly, but I've been doing it. But when it's time to do the switch from being an accountant to being a finance stroke admin manager, it came naturally. It came naturally. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope we understand what I'm saying. I want to believe that I'm communicating this afternoon. If you're following me, please let me know in the comment section that you're following and that I'm not talking to myself this afternoon. Okay, so yeah, now in trying to figure out what is this thing that you love doing, one of the easiest ways, I believe, is to look at what are those things that are your strengths as a person. What are those areas of strength? What are those areas of strength for you as a person? When you figure those things out, when you sort out, or when you see, or when you discover the areas of your strength, most times the thing that gives you joy, the things that makes you happy, align with those areas of your strength. So discover the area of your strength. Focus on those areas of your strength in the things that you do, even if it's in your extracurricular activities. Because sometimes it might not be possible, as it was for me, to go to the secretary, for example, and ask for some of her work and do it and then give her back. It may not be possible everywhere. It's not everybody that would have that kind of good mind, honestly, that the secretaries I worked with had. Some people will not accept. So you can now do extracurricular activities, maybe things you do after work that involve those your areas of strength. Look for extracurricular activities that involve those your areas of strength, and the joy you derive once again from doing these things will spill over. It will spill over and will see you through when you now have to do the mundane things the mundane things that are part of your daily activities, your daily job. I don't know if we understand what I'm saying. I hope I am communicating this afternoon. So focus on your strengths. Focus on them. Look for them. Discover them. Focus on your strengths. That will help you discover the things that you love doing. It will help you discover the things that you love doing. And like I said, it's best if you have not started on the journey of working, you've not started on any career path, then you apply yourself towards those areas. But if you have already started, it's not too late. It's not too late. You can still discover the areas of your strengths, and you can still begin to do the things that align. Oh, thank you, Mike. Yes, I'm glad I'm making sense, and I'm glad that you're following. That you can still discover those areas and still do things that align with those areas of your strength. And in going also along with the areas of your strength, those things you have a passion for. Now, it might not be that this is your area of strength. It could just be that you have a passion for this. You love doing this thing. You live for it. Maybe it might not be, if they tell you to list your first 3 strengths, it might not even fall in there. But you just love doing this thing. That is another thing that will point you to those things that are, the things you love. So discover your passions. Discover your passions. Those things that just thrill you. Discover them. Those things that just make you smile unconsciously. Discover them. Find them. Many of us don't know our passions. We think we do, but we truly don't do. We truly don't. We truly don't. We truly do not know our passions. Discover your passions. Those things that make your heart glad. They just make you happy. They just bring joy to your heart. What are they? Discover them. If you need to talk to someone about it. You need to talk to your mentor, your coach, talk to someone about it. But discover those areas of your passions along with the areas of your strength. See, like I said, what this does for you is that as you're working in the place of work, in the place of your employment, as you're working, the joy you derive from this area of strength, this place of your passion, it always overflows into the current work you are doing, especially if the current work you are doing is not what you love to do. That joy will always flow over. And before you know it, you're making progress in that area where you are working, that area that you're doing the job now. Before you know it, you're making progress in that area. So don't ever feel, oh, I'm doing this job and I don't really like this job, it gives me no joy, and then you allow that it gives me no joy to bring you down. No, find what gives you joy. Do that which gives you joy, and then let the joy that comes from that flow into that dreary job that you're doing. I don't know if we get me this afternoon. I hope I am communicating. Welcome, Tonya Funanya. Glad to have you here this afternoon. Welcome. So, yes, as I was saying, it's almost an impossibility for you to be doing the thing that gives you joy. Like I said, it could be an extracurricular activity, and it will not overflow into the work that you're doing. And sometimes you'll even find a way to weave it in. You find a way to weave in that thing that is giving you joy into the current work that you do that is not giving you joy. And before you know it, you're making progress. And then it's almost as if it's an unconscious thing. You begin to gravitate in growing in your career, in growing in your path, in growing in employment. You begin to gravitate towards that thing that truly gives you joy. I don't know if you see how that worked out. It's almost an unconscious thing. I give the example of myself. Accountant. Didn't mind doing accounting work. Didn't even see accounting work as boring. When people say accounting work is boring, I didn't even see it like that initially. But because somewhere inside me, I enjoyed administrative things, I enjoyed dealing with people, I began to do those things and found a way to kind of weave them into the accounting work that I was doing. When I moved from pure accounting to finance and administration, I didn't really think about it. It just happened. Because I had developed, while doing the accounting work, I had developed my admin abilities. Okay? I want to believe that that made sense. And I want to believe that we're getting value from this discussion this afternoon. Okay, so another thing that we can do in our careers to help us do the things that we love is to innovate. Just like I said, you're doing, let me go back to my example, accounting work. Innovate. Find a way to make that work easier, and find a way to weave in whatever is giving you joy into it. It is possible. It is possible. For example, in doing my accounting job, generally, accountants, it's not as if we don't deal with customers, we don't deal with suppliers, but our dealings with suppliers is basically invoice. Bring your invoice. Bring your invoice. We will pay you. Sometimes you never even see that supplier that's supplying the goods or services. But because I had the flair of administrative work, I would go out of my way to meet with suppliers. I would go out of my way to have discussions with them. Now that helped me in my accounting work, because one, they would submit their invoices on time, because I had a rapport with them. They would submit on time. They would do what needed to be on time, needed to be done on time. Do you see how this is helping my accounting? It's helping my accounting work. But it's not a purely accounting ability or accounting thing. Okay, so find a way to innovate, find a way to introduce things into that job to make it more interesting for you. Find a way to do it, because I can begin to give us examples, but because everybody's not an accountant, I can only give an example of what I know. So look at the job that you're doing and find a way to innovate, find a way to infuse what makes you happy, find a way to infuse what gives you joy, what is your passion, find a way to infuse it into what you're doing currently. See, even as I'm talking to those who work, you can do this in your business also. You can do it in your business. You infuse joy into the work that you do as a business person. Infuse joy into it. Don't just let it be business as usual. Don't let it be, oh, this is how we have been doing it all this while. Not relevant that this is how it has always been done. Find a way to infuse joy into it. Find a way to infuse your passion into it. If you're someone that you're very outgoing, infuse that your personality into your business. Infuse that your personality into the work that you are doing. Infuse it. That way, you are happy. You understand? You're experiencing joy, and you're also growing in what you're doing. Because there's no way, for example, you're somebody that's a very joyful person, very outgoing. You like to talk to people, you like to meet people, you make people laugh, and you're a business person. People will not be drawn to you. They'll be drawn to you. Even in your place of work, people will be drawn to you. But you have to be able to infuse that your personality into what you do. You have to infuse it. Otherwise, you just be like the next person. You just be like any other person, and there will be nothing different. Nothing different. Also, there are some habits that go with doing what you love. Develop them. Develop the habits. Do the things that are necessary. There's always a process to everything. See, there's hardly anything that a person does that there's not a process to it. There's always a process. Discover that process and apply it. Don't try to cut corners. This is what kills most of us. We are always looking for the shortcut. Forget shortcuts. Just follow the process. Follow the process as is, and you will get to where you are going. Don't cut corners. Don't try to jump and move from 1 to 10 and skip 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Most times it doesn't really help us. Okay, so remember, we are talking about doing what you love today as a way to grow in our careers, as a way to grow in the work that we do. And we agree that there are two different ways to look at it. One way is from when you have not started working. Then it's easier for you because you can now start working in that area that you love. But the other side of it is that you're already doing something. You're already in a career path. You're already doing some kind of work. You're already employed. And what you are doing right now is not really what you love. What you're doing right now is just not giving you the joy that you need. Then at that point, that is when you need to begin to infuse what you love into what you are doing. That is the time you begin to infuse what you love into what you are doing. But to even start this in the first place, you have to know what is it that you truly love. You have to know what it is. It took me years, as in years, it took me more than 20 years to discover my own. But meanwhile, I had the things that gave me joy. I had the things that made me happy. And I infused them into even that work that I was doing. I found a way to make the work more interesting for me. Let me give us another example, because I like to give personal examples. I like to help people. I don't even do it consciously sometimes. Yes, it does get me into trouble sometimes, because people are people. We understand. Human beings are human beings. When they see that you're so invested in helping them, they can mess you up sometimes. But honestly, truthfully, it doesn't bother me that I'm helping you and you're being ungrateful. When I say it doesn't bother me, it doesn't mean that I don't notice it. I notice it. But because it's not your gratitude that's propelling me. It's not your gratitude that is propelling me. Because it's not your gratitude propelling me, I still go ahead and help. I still go ahead and do the needful. So I love to help people. And everywhere I have worked, as an accountant, as a finance manager, whatever, and even as I grew to be finance and admin managers and all that, I ensured that as part of my day, I find a way to help someone. It's a given. So by that, I've never left an office and people were like, go. As I'm leaving any office, people are like, Chai, Madam Ngozi, what will we do? Why? Okay, in fact, we have to keep in touch. Because, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. I infused my love of helping people into the accounting work that I was doing. The people that work with me, you will know everything I know. You will know it. All the tricks of the trade I know, you will know it. Because as I'm teaching you, I'm even learning more. As I'm giving out to you, my own is increasing. There is no way that I'm teaching you and I'm reducing it. It can't happen. It can't happen. So I thrive on it. I teach everybody that is near me. Even the person doing another job that's completely different from the accounting work. If I can help you, I help you too. So you see that I found a way to infuse what I love into the job that I'm doing. So that I am never really truly depressed working. I'm never really truly depressed. There are times that, I have issues. There are times that, of course, I get a little bit depressed. Maybe something has happened. Maybe the way my boss is talking to me. It happens to everybody. But by the time I sit back, the joy that comes from, in the midst of this, I helped this person. Uzokodi, welcome. Glad to have you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So the joy of, in the midst of this trouble, in the midst of this difficulty I'm having doing this work, I helped this person. It always overflowed. And it always helped me through whatever difficult situation I was facing at that time. So you see, that is why it's so important to know what you love doing and to find a way to infuse it into the work you do currently. Find a way to infuse it. Find a way to intertwine it into the work. It helps you through the time that you want to give up. Because there's nobody that does not have a time you want to give up because of difficult people, because of difficult bosses, because of toxic environment, toxic workplaces, toxic people. They're there. They're always going to be there. And there are times they will get to you. What will pull you through is the joy that you have infused into your work through doing the things that you love. That is what is going to get you through. That is what is going to get you through. So ensure, find a way, my sisters, my brothers, find a way, my fellow journeyers on this journey of growth, to infuse that which you love, that which gives you joy into what you're doing currently. I said, this is for you that already you're doing something that you don't love, maybe because that's what you studied in school. And finally, if it's too much, swivel, shift, turn. It's not late to go back to school and study something else. So sometimes you don't even have to go to full 4 years school. You can do some short courses bordering on that thing that you love. If it's just, you can't deal anymore with this current position or this current job you're doing, it's draining your energy, sapping you of all your strength, and the joy coming from what you have infused is not enough. Swivel, shift. Take some courses and begin to do what you love. So you see, now we have looked at it from 3 different angles. We have looked at doing what you love as a way to grow your career from 3 different angles. I repeat, the first one was that you have not started working. So just begin to look for jobs that align with what you love. But first, of course, you have to know what is really what you love. It's not just the things that are thrilling you now. Sometimes there are some things that thrill us for a while. It's not those things we are talking about. I mean the real thing that gives you inside joy. So, you're working in an area that truly this is not the place of your joy. This is not the thing that gives you joy. This is not the thing that makes you happy. But you're already doing the work because maybe this is what you studied in school. Then find a way to infuse what gives you joy into what you're currently doing. I gave us some examples. Find a way. Look for it. See, I discovered something recently. Have you noticed where maybe suddenly I want a white Mercedes-Benz or something? I begin to see white Mercedes-Benz everywhere. Or you just bought a car, a red, I don't know which kind of car. You begin to see that car everywhere. It's the same thing. It's that principle. It's not as if suddenly everybody bought red cars. The red cars were probably there all this while. You just, because your mind was not on it, you didn't notice them. So when you're working and the job is really not the best, find a way to infuse what you love into it. As you do this, you will begin to see fun ways of doing this current job that seems so boring before. You begin to see interesting ways. You begin to see how you can infuse what you love into this job because now your mind is on it. Then the third thing, or the third aspect of doing what you love as a way to experience career growth was to just shift. Do something new. Do that which you love. Go and do some short courses. If it's something completely different from what you're doing right now, do some short courses. There's so many available resources. Look on Udemy, look on Coursera, go on Allison, do some courses. And then begin to maneuver your way out of your current job towards what makes you happy, towards what you truly love. So these are the 3 aspects of doing what you love as a way to grow in your career, as a way to experience growth in your career, in your job, in your employment. And remember, I said you can also apply this in your business. You can apply this in any other thing. You can actually apply it in any other aspect. In the work in the business that you're doing currently, you can apply it. In whatever it is you're doing now. Oh, you see, yes, as Susan said, she said she did a 360-degree shift and she's better off. You see it. I mean, these things are real life things. It's not story, it's not theory. It's real life applications. If some of my colleagues, my accounting colleagues, when they watch this my program, they're like, Ngozi, you like this? We didn't know. Because this is quite different from the Ngozi that is the accountant. Very different. Very different. Very different. So sometimes you do need to do the 360 or 180, whatever degree you want to call it. You just need to change, turn around, go ahead, drop this one and face the new one. See, this life is once. It's once. You have to enjoy it. It's once. You don't get to come again. Forget those stories they tell you about reincarnation, all those religions that you don't come again. It's once. And you cannot waste it doing something that does not give you joy. Why? Why put yourself through that misery? Because it is you doing yourself. Nobody's doing you. You are the one putting yourself through the misery. No person is doing it to you. Once again, find a way to do what you love and use it as a propeller to grow, or as a stepping stone, or as a ladder to grow in your career, in your business, in whatever it is that you're doing. Infuse what you love into it. Squeeze it in there somehow. Mix it in and enjoy this life. This journey of growth is enjoyable. You have to enjoy it. You can't grow and be grumbling through it. No. Grow and enjoy the growth. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. Once again, this is Growth Habits with Ngozi. Thank you once again for joining me this afternoon. It's been a pleasure sharing with each and every one of us today. It's been my complete pleasure. I enjoy always having you come around and share this 45 minutes, 1 hour with me. And for those that watch on the replay, it appears the people that watch the replay are more than the people that come on the live, because sometimes, okay, another person might say I've also done 120 degrees and still doing it. The important thing is your joy, your happiness. Don't waste this life doing what does not give you joy. Don't. Find a way to infuse joy into it. Okay? So thank you all once again for joining me. Like I was saying, those that watch the replay, they are more than the people that come on the live. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for those that join live. You are the superstars. Thank you for those that watch on the replay. I love you. I love you. I love you. You are all the best. You are the best. You are the best. And remember, yes, I introduced our page, Growth Habits page, to us last week, but I've also now created a group. In fact, we are moving. Permanent site, here we come. So I also now have Growth Habits group. So I'll put up the link to that group, because the page, you can only like the page and follow the things that are on that page. But the group, you can actually join. You can join the group and be part of the group and participate in the things happening in the group. So once we finish, I will post the link to the group for us. Please join the group. Like this video, send it to your friends, forward it, share it to everyone. Join the group, send the link to the group to everyone. In fact, let's make this work. Let's make this work together. Thank you for joining me once again this afternoon. See you next Tuesday, same time, 12 noon, same place, Facebook Live. And ultimately, this live sessions will be happening on that Growth Habits group, from that Growth Habits group, and not from my personal Facebook page. But let's grow that group first. Let's grow the page. Let's Facebook know. What's his name, Zuckerberg, let him know that we are here first, and then we'll move over to that group. So thank you once again. Have an awesome day, and see you next week, Tuesday, same time, same place. This is Growth Habits. Bye.